Hello there, welcome to Granada Reports.
Hello, thanks for joining us on the programme this evening.
The hard-working young woman shot dead at her home. Ashley's family say their hearts are broken and ask how it could happen.
As the Ryan Giggs trial enters its closing stages, the jury are told to put aside any emotion they may feel.
The mums brought together by tragedy and the determination to help others.
Think big, really big, an exclusive behind-the-scenes tour of our newest museum.
And while it was lovely to see the sunshine at the weekend, the garden certainly needed the rain today. The forecast is coming up.
First, though, she has been described as a hard-working young woman with her entire life ahead of her.
But tonight, Ashley Dale's family say their hearts are broken after she was shot dead at her home in Liverpool. Our reporter Emma Sweeney is with us tonight. Emma, what more can you tell us about this?
Well, Lucy, Ashley Dale was found fatally wounded in her garden in Old Swan during the early hours of yesterday morning in what police have described as a senseless attack. She was treated there at the scene before being taken to hospital, but it was there she was pronounced dead. Now, today, police say they believe the attack on the address was targeted, but they don't believe the 28-year-old was the intended target. As you say, Ashley's family have described her as a shining light, and they say our hearts are broken into a million pieces. Ashley, they said, had many plans for the future and had just been promoted in her job at Knowsley Council. They added, "We can't come to terms with how this would happen to a defenceless woman in her own home. None of this makes sense and our lives will never be the same again. A senseless crime that has torn a family apart. Justice needs to be brought." Well, earlier on, the police assured Ashley's family that they would leave no stone unturned in this investigation, and they have appealed for members of the community to help them, bringing those responsible to justice.
This is so sad, Emma, and this is the second terrible tragedy to hit this family.
That's right, Andy. Back in 2015, Ashley's younger brother, Lewis Dunn, was fatally shot after being mistaken for a rival. But we understand police do not believe there is any connection between these two cases.
OK, Emma Sweeney for now, thank you.
Well, next tonight, we move on to knife crime and sadly another grieving family. The boxer Tyson Fury is calling for a crackdown on people carrying knives after his cousin was killed in a stabbing in Altrincham.
Yeah, Rico Burton was stabbed outside a bar in Altrincham in the early hours of yesterday morning. 2 people have been arrested on suspicion of murder.
Anna Yosef is at the scene for us tonight. Anna, the first reports of this came from Tyson Fury himself.
That's right, Lucy. As you said, Tyson Fury made the announcement on his social media yesterday morning saying his cousin had been stabbed in the neck. Police later confirmed Rico Burton, who was 31, had died from his injuries in hospital. Officers were called here to Goose Green, a popular area in Altrincham, in the early hours of Sunday morning following reports a brawl had broken out outside a bar. A 17-year-old was also stabbed. He remains in hospital in a serious condition. Now, police have called the attack senseless and unplanned. 2 men have been arrested. Rico himself was a talented boxer. His former coach has said he's absolutely devastated by the news. He said Rico was a lovely lad who trained with us for 5 years, won 2 national titles and was a very relaxed and skillful boxer. He could have gone a long way in the professional boxing ranks. One of the nicest lads you could meet. Tyson Fury is calling for more action to be taken to crack down on knife crime. He said this needs to stop. It's a pandemic and you don't know how bad it is until it's one of your own. Life is very precious and it can be taken away very quick. R.I.P. Rico Burton. Boris Johnson and Labour's Keir Starmer have both offered their condolences to Tyson Fury, his family and friends.
Anna, thank you.
Well, next to a night of protest at Old Trafford, where Manchester United fans are turning up the heat on the club's owners.
Yeah, thousands of supporters are marching to the stadium tonight to voice their anger at the Glazer family ahead of tonight's Premier League match with their arch-rivals Liverpool.
Chris Hall is with supporters at the start of the march. What's the mood there, Chris?
Well, this protest has been organised by the 1958 fans group, who have urged supporters to keep this protest peaceful and legal. And it certainly has been that way so far, but it's still very noisy. And there's lots of anger towards the Glazer family, who've been deeply unpopular since they first took charge of the club, with an ownership model which saddled the club with hundreds of millions of pounds worth of debt. The interest on that debt, they're still paying off around £19 million a year. There was also that deeply unpopular move to try to form part of a European Super League. Manchester United are also the only club in the Premier League to pay its owners dividends. But despite all of that, the Glazer family say there's still plenty of money left over in Manchester United to run it properly. And yet, there is still no Champions League football at Manchester United this year. And if they were to lose tonight, they would be bottom of that Premier League table. And these fans have just had enough.
It's not right. It's not okay. If I had a message for the club today, it would be sell up now.
I think the Glazers just need to go. They're just greedy, sending all their money back to Tampa, trying to win NFLs in America. They don't care about football over here. So
we want the owners out of our club tonight. We're hoping it's going to push them over the edge.
The businessmen, they're not football men. They don't care about the football. They don't care about the people. That's it.
Well, what's really added fuel to the fire over this last week has been all of the takeover talk, with Manchester United fans, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, confirming that he would be interested in buying Manchester United if it were ever put up for sale. The club isn't commenting on that. These fans certainly are. Their last major protest a year ago, also a Liverpool game, and we may apologise for some of the swearing if you caught some of that. That night, you might remember that quite a few fans broke into the stadium and the match was postponed. If that was to happen again, Jurgen Klopp says he would want all 3 points awarding to Liverpool.
I really hope it will not happen, but if it happens, I think we should get the points. Because maybe it's not our. We have nothing to do with the situation. If that happens and the supporters want the game to be not happening, then we cannot just rearrange the game then again and fit it in somewhere in a, anyway incredibly busy.
The owners want to win, and the fans, we want them behind the club. And I can understand sometimes, but I'm not that long in the club that I can see all the backgrounds. But we have to fight together. So we have to be unified and fight together.
Well, there has been some talk today of Manchester United fans wanting to empty Old Trafford tonight. That's not the case with this protest. These fans will be leaving here around 7 o'clock and marching down to the stadium, where they will protest outside Old Trafford before the game, before heading inside to make as much noise as they can. And the slogan for this peaceful protest tonight is that some things are worth fighting for.
OK, Chris Hall at Old Trafford for us tonight. Thank you very much indeed for that.
The families of 2 soldiers from the northwest have been giving their support to charities set up in their memory.
They've been at a football match near Bolton between teams from the Lee Rigby and the Darren Deedy Foundations.
Fusilier Lee Rigby was murdered outside the Woolwich Barracks in London 9 years ago, and Kingsman Darren Deedy died of injuries in Afghanistan in 2010.
Tasha Kuchiri has our report.
The family and friends of Darren Deedy and Lee Rigby still supporting others with this charity football match aimed to save lives. The Darren Deedy Foundation gives veterans a helping hand to get back on their feet.
I have veterans at the moment that are living with me because they're homeless. So I take them in and then we find them suitable accommodation.
While the Lee Rigby Foundation supports families of bereaved soldiers to have time away.
When Lee died, we couldn't be as a family because obviously, you know, it was a high-profile murder. And I spoke to many of the families that lost loved ones in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they just basically was the same.
25-year-old Lee Rigby from Middleton was attacked and killed while off duty in London in May 2013. 22-year-old Darren Deedy from Bolton was shot in Afghanistan in 2010.
Yeah, it means a lot to me. Obviously, I was with Darren when he was shot, so it brings back a lot of memories, but also good ones as well.
Darren's family are planning to set up a centre to offer accommodation and support for veterans in need. The council has offered a building, but the foundation needs £30,000 to refurbish it and set up services. This charity match aims to raise money for both foundations.
It's just an amazing sort of occasion, isn't it? To be able to bring so many people together for such a worthy, fantastic cause. It's and you can just see the amount of people here. It's not just what it means to us; it's what it means to everyone. It's huge, yeah.
The teams are made up of serving soldiers. 500 people attended and they managed to raise £3,000. But so far that's a drop in the bucket for the £30,000 that they need. For the families, football isn't just a way to get everyone together, it's also a way to heal.
It actually takes me forward by doing this. I've seen the lads from day one when Darren died, suffering with PTSD, suffering with other issues, going through the mill really on what happened, and I'd like to think that they don't know how I do this, but I always say doing this, helping you, brings me forward too.
Tasha Kachiri, ITV News, Bolton.
Yeah, a lovely tribute to the two of them.
Well, next tonight, the jury trying Ryan Giggs have been told to put aside any feelings of sympathy or any emotion.
He denies assault and using controlling and coercive behaviour at Manchester Crown Court.
The case is in its closing stages, with the judge expected to send the jury out tomorrow. Our correspondent Elaine Wilcox is there. So what's the court been hearing today, Elaine?
Yes, as you say, the judge on day 11 of this trial told the jury to put aside any feelings of sympathy or emotion. Both Kate Greville and Ryan Giggs broke down during their evidence. Kate Greville and her sister allege Ryan Giggs deliberately harmed them during an argument at his home in November 2020. But the prosecution claimed there are two Ryan Giggs, a public and private one. And they claim the private one, his mask slips and he's controlling and violent. The court was told this is a case about a man's abuse of power. Kate Greville was vulnerable and at breaking point, they claim, when she finally snapped on the night of the alleged assault. But Peter Wright, QC, told the jury Mr Giggs thought he could do whatever he liked in his relationship with Miss Greville, that he could get away with it, he said. The truth has caught up with him. Now it's his time to pay the price. But the defence paints a very different picture. They say Ryan Giggs is a liar, he's a serial cheater, but he insists he didn't headbutt his previous partner. His defence team called their star witness, Sir Alex Ferguson, who said in the 24 years he'd played for him, he never once saw him lose his temper. And the court It's been read almost 20,000 texts between the couple in which Ryan Giggs wrote a lot of love poems. Now, the defence told the court the prosecution's questioning of Ryan Giggs was almost like blood sport. He said he used words that the former footballer didn't understand, cherry-picking the evidence to make him look bad. Chris Daw QC told the jury Ms Greville had lied throughout her evidence. He said this started at the scene when she told police that Mr Giggs had previously headbutted her and also kicked her in the head. He says Ms Greville is someone who's capable of manipulation, someone who's capable of twisting reality to her own ends. Of course, it will be for the judge, the jury, I stress, to decide which account they believe, and Ryan Giggs denies all the charges.
Elaine Wilcox at Manchester Crown Court, thank you.
Well, now fears about finding a GP if you live in the Lake District. Patients say they're angry and scared that their GPs have told them they can no longer run the local surgery because it isn't financially viable.
The Lancashire and South Cumbria Integrated Care Board says it's committed to finding another GP provider to run the service.
The current GPs say that they desperately want to serve their community but can't find a way to make it work after their funding was cut. Now, that cut happened because the number of residents is dropping in an area popular with tourists. Fiona Marley-Patterson reports.
Yes. So tell me what's the matter.
After 16 years caring for patients in a rural community, Dr Kay Ward says her practice is no longer viable. The funding they used to get for having a rural population with students and lots of holiday lets is being cut.
We really have explored all options to try and find another solution, and we've been backed into this corner where we've felt we've been obliged to hand our contract back.
And what are patients saying to you?
They're really worried, they're absolutely distraught, they don't want this to happen, that they really value us, that we provide a really good service. It's quite worrying how scared they are about what might happen, and they're scared.
Part of the extra money they got was because they were seeing tourists, but the Integrated Care Board thinks they'd be better served with another service just for them. It'll cost £170,000 and the GPs can bid to deliver it. But they say it would be more work for the same money, and they haven't got the staff. They're busy with the resident population. The practice has 6,400 patients across 200 square miles.
A sparsely populated rural area that we've heard time and time again is becoming increasingly more expensive to live, making it harder for young people to stay here. So there's a higher percentage of older patients with more complex medical needs.
Like Colin Earnshaw, he's had 3 strokes and has a respiratory problem. A letter to say the GP he's known for years will no longer be able to see him is a big worry.
It makes me feel vulnerable. I try to gear all my appointments to the bus service in case I can't drive now. The bus service to get to Ambleside, 10:15 in the morning, come back middle of the afternoon, so that's the biggest part of a day gone. If you have to go to Westminster in general, it's a day out completely. The other thing is I have got an exceptionally good relationship with all the members of the staff at the health centre. Is that relationship going to be in jeopardy? And the facilities I can expect going to be in jeopardy with the new proposals.
The current GPs will continue until the end of the year, with another provider until the end of March. By then, the NHS Care Board hopes to have found a new provider. It stresses it's committed to ensuring patients have high-quality GP services. But for patients like Colin, it won't be the GP he's known for years, and he fears what could be lost, making it cheaper. Fiona Marley-Patterson, ITV News, Ambleside.
OK, well, it's time for sport now and more on that big match at Old Trafford, Mike.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a night, isn't it? On and off the pitch. Manchester United facing Liverpool in the Premier League at 8 o'clock tonight. But before that, as we've already been hearing, there will be a protest by supporters against the club's owners, the Glazers. Now, this is a march tonight that's organised by the supporters group, the 1958. Fans are planning to make themselves heard on a 1.5-mile march to Old Trafford. They're due to start that march at 7 o'clock. As for the game itself, well, it's an important one for both clubs, isn't it? Not just because of that fierce rivalry, but because neither of them have managed a win yet this season.
Yeah, I know the rivals, that we are the rivals, and that we have to win every game, but especially this game. Yeah, I know.
I think the whole world will watch it. It's Monday night anyway. I can watch it, and you will see how these two heavyweights deal with the situation. And yeah, I would watch it. I will watch it, by the way.
It's a good job, isn't it? Well, Manchester United will hope to calm tensions tonight by showing off their new £60 million signing. Brazilian midfielder Casemiro is expected to complete his move from Real Madrid in time to appear on the pitch at Old Trafford.
OK, here's Lucrezia now with details of what's to come at 6:30.
Coming up, energy firms join the calls to freeze prices to protect those struggling to pay their bills. Another rise in the price cap is expected later this week, with the government under growing pressure to act. Also ahead, strikes spread to the courts. Now criminal barristers vote to walk out. A new start for the Cambridges as George, Charlotte and Louis find new schools in Windsor. And find out which Hollywood star stunned locals by winning a Wolverhampton jiu-jitsu competition. Join me for all that and more at 6:30. Well, now some exciting news, because it's time for Andy to get the kettle on, that giant kettle that we saw in the opening menu. You can make a few brews with that one, Andy.
Yep.
Anyway, it's all happening at the region's newest museum, getting ready to open to the public. It's the Eureka Science and Discovery Centre. It opens in November and it's next to one of the Mersey ferry terminals.
And it's hoped the attraction in Seacombe on the Wirral will help kickstart the local economy and inspire youngsters in their future careers. I've been given an exclusive first look behind the scenes as work progresses. They're fixing and sawing and cleaning. The race is on to get the Northwest's newest museum open to the public.
Eureka Science and Discovery Centre is going to be a place where children and young people can come to learn about themselves, their bodies, their homes and nature.
Eureka is no stranger to making learning fun. They're the people behind the National Children's Museum in Halifax. Here, the goal is to showcase real-world science, technology, engineering and maths, inspiring a new generation into future careers. The centre will be split into 3 areas.
Welcome to the Nature Zone. So this first area is called Inspired by Nature, and that basically enables us to look at how we can look to nature for solutions to solve problems, for everyday problems that we might have.
We've been following the progress of the centre since March, when Eureka first got the keys to the building. More than 5 years after they agreed to create the attraction, they could now start making their plans a reality.
For us, it was a unique opportunity to come to a working ferry terminal that has tens of thousands of people going through it every month, to come to a place that is just on the verge of regeneration, where you feel as if we are part of the start of a new beginning for Birkenhead and this part of the Wirral. It just felt like too good of an opportunity to miss.
Eureka has spent years working with local industry and the community to develop the attraction. Young people came up with ideas to engage others. Here they are on the beach at New Brighton. Never has the science and engineering of wind energy looked so much fun. You can already see how this place is going to inspire the children and young people who come here, especially when you see some of the super-sized objects that they're using to explain STEM subjects to the young audience.
So here we are in our bathroom area. So we look at how things work in the bathroom, looking at systems, but also having some fun with a giant tap. Now into the bathroom cabinet, Andy. Now you can help me with this big reveal and say cheese.
It's costing more than £11 million to bring this place to life. The hope is that it will be money well spent.
I just can't wait till the doors open. A lot of work to get done before that time, but we're really confident that when we open, we'll be ready.
Everything has been planned in great detail here, even down to a giant cat. Anything to leave a huge impression on a receptive young audience.
Wow, how good is that? Where's my giant cup of tea then?
I know. Do you know what? I wanted to take that kettle home. I like a brew. I wanted to take that kettle home with me, definitely.
And a giant kitchen to go around.
Yeah, definitely. OK, right, let's see what the weather has in store now. Here's Joe.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thank you. A very good evening to you. Maybe you've seen a few glimmers of brightness today, but it certainly came in this afternoon. In fact, it was quite a shock to see the rain out there today, but much needed, of course, across not just the region, but the whole country. Going forward, a few showers over the next few days, but settling down with some warm sunny spells and quite a humid feel to our weather developing as we pull up that warm air from the continent through this week. Still low pressure to the northwest of the UK, though, and that means we're not in for any quiet weather. There's still going to be a few showers around, certainly tonight and again tomorrow. Over the next few days or so, both by day and night, it's going to feel quite warm. And as we go into this evening, bits and pieces of showery rain continuing for a time, and then gradually through the course of tonight, settling down, that rain petering out, leaving behind low cloud, mistiness and fog here and there. And temperature-wise tonight, across the board, it isn't going to be chilly, 14 or 15 Celsius away from towns. And for the likes of Manchester, probably 17 degrees tonight. Some of us waking up to a little bit of mistiness tomorrow morning, and I do like this mackerel sky or cirrocumulus clouds taken in Stubshaw Cross by Julian Sawfleet. Up at 6:03, down at 8:23. Tomorrow, misty, murky start in a few spots. That sun should get out, a gentle breeze around, and 1 or 2 showers developing for the Isle of Man, Cumbria, Lancashire through the morning, and then during the afternoon, showers could get out nearly anywhere. Lots of dry weather in between, interspersed with some warm sunny spells until cloud builds later. And a warm, muggy feel to the day, 22 or 23 degrees. Looking ahead from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday onwards, some sunshine, small risk of a shower midweek. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thank you, Joe. By the way, that cat at the end of my piece there, they're still looking for a name for her. They've got a shortlist at the moment, but any ideas?
What's on the shortlist?
I'm
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked that. Felix would be quite good.
Felix would be good. Whiskers.
Emerald, look at those eyes.
Yeah.
OK, anyway, quick news about our website. You'll find the story there about the search to find a couple whose wedding pictures turned up in a second-hand book.
We need to find them. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Bye.